Now we have some audio, and how many times during this administration, which hopefully is about to come to an end,
from the president's
are they going to fucking talk to Bob Woodward? I pointed it out the last time when we went over Trump talking to Woodward about the coronavirus. He had already been caught by Woodward saying bullshit. And Woodward had already wrote a book about it. But here we have Jared Kushner just a couple months after the last Woodward revelation talking on the record.
There were 3 phases. There was the panic phase, the pain phase, and then the comeback phase. I do believe that last night symbolized kind of the beginning of the comeback phase. That doesn't mean there's not still a lot of pain and there won't be pain for a while, but that basically was, we've now put out rules to get back to work. Trump's now back in charge. It's not the doctors. They've kind of, we have like a negotiated settlement.
Now, there's a movie on Hulu called Totally Under Control, I believe. It's about the coronavirus pandemic. Go watch that. After watching it, it is obvious that we would have been a lot better off if the Trump administration had done nothing. They were actively working against the doctors. And that's what Kushner is talking about here. The doctors aren't in control. The administration is in control.
The last thing was kind of doing the guidelines, which was interesting. And that, in my mind, was almost like, it was almost like Trump getting the country back from the doctors, right? In the sense that what he now did was, he's going to own the open up.
He's going to own the open up, eh? Is he owning the spike that's happening right now? Or are we turning a corner? I pick All in the Family.
So with testing now, what he's been saying is don't fall into the same trap that we fell into the first time. The states have to own the testing. The federal government should not own the testing. And the federal government should not own kind of the rules. It's got to be up to the governors because that's the way the federalist system works. But the president also is very smart politically with the way he did that fight with the governors to basically...
The president is very smart politically. Holy shit. I would say no to that because the president is doing his best to make sure that the people that he needs to vote for him aren't even alive by election day. From holding super spreader events where people are catching the coronavirus to leaving them out in the cold in Omaha, Nebraska, to today when he maybe I don't have the story, but today in his rally, several people had to seek medical attention in Florida for overheating. He's doing his best to put his supporters in the hospital. So I'm not sure that that's a very smart political move to make sure the people that you need to vote for you on election day, who you have made worried about mail-in ballots, they're likely to come vote on election day, and you are doing your best to make them sick. But hey, right-wingers and morons. You're seeing it laid bare on full display in the comment section right now.
We say, no, I own the opening. Because again, the opening is going to be very popular. People want this country open. But if it opens in the wrong way, the question will be, did the governors follow the guidelines we set out or not?
Of course the opening is going to be popular. If you're not paying people to stay home, if you're not doing rent moratoriums or mortgage freezes, of course opening up is going to be popular because how else are people going to be able to support themselves? I had a conversation with a bar owner back in April, May, whenever it was, back when we were going through the whole reopening thing. I'm like, man, why aren't you lobbying for the government to make your employees stay home and pay them to freeze your mortgage? Because opening back up isn't going to do you any good. People aren't going to want to come to a bar during a pandemic. Guess I was wrong about that. I underestimated Americans' willingness to put their lives in danger to go out and have a fucking drink at a bar. But people aren't going to want to come to a bar during a pandemic. You're not going to be able to have full capacity. What happens when your employees get sick? You don't give them medical care. Dude, you absolutely give a damn. Holy shit. We're going to find out what you think on Monday when we have you on the show, brother. Cannot wait.
But I think that the difference between a really good outcome and a really bad outcome, rests on two things. Number one is competent execution by us on the medical front and on...
Well, you failed that one.
The economic front, which I think we have the right teams in place to do. And then number two is the psychology of the market, right? So if you
I need to shoot him a message. We'll see if we can get him on tomorrow. He promised me he would shoot me a message and let me know what day was good for him this week. Never heard from him. Obviously, I'm back in the Facebook jail, so...
basically say this is coming back in the fall, don't gear up, then people won't rehire, people will stay unemployed, and if you're planning for the worst case scenario, that will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. One of the things that the president's great...
Ooh! Guess it wasn't so much of a self-fulfilling prophecy as, just reality. Dumb fucks.
That is, he's a cheerleader. He's trying to make people feel good about the outcome.
The outcome of 225,000 plus people dying.
I told Jared to speak to you, and I believe he has.
Yes,
And I just told him a little while.
This is after Woodward has wrote 2 books about... Now, the book hadn't come out yet, but Trump has already trashed Woodward once for writing a book about his administration a couple of years ago.
I told Jared to speak to you, and I believe he has.
yes,
So he's not only is he still giving interviews to Woodward, who he trashed for writing a book about him, he's telling his top advisor, I gotta laugh at that, to also speak to Woodward. So are these people completely incompetent, or do they think they're playing the media? I think they like getting these stories out and then accusing the media of being biased against them. I think they believe they get more traction that way. So just say outlandish things, let people report on it. I honestly do. They get to control the narrative that way. Right-wingers are always on offense. And that's one of the reasons why I've decided to start a show and come forward. I'm tired of right-wingers being on offense. I'm going on offense. I'm going to control the fucking message. There's no snowflake libtard cuck here. And facts don't care about your fucking feelings.
I just told him a little while ago that if you would do me a favor, Jared, and coordinate a little bit with Bob so that Bob can speak to anybody he wants to, Jared will handle it. Very capable guy, Jared. You can't get people like this.
We talked to him.
One smart cookie.
Scheduled to see
And
him.
if you could...
Where's the corruption nepotism charges about him having his fucking son-in-law working in the White House while doing business deals with foreign governments?
Deal with Jared a little bit. See me whenever you want.
Overconfident idiots.
I
I'm
looked this early
interested
on
to
that
hear
neither
this.
party's really a party. They're collections of tribes, right? And so the Republicans...
He's right about that. That's one of the. I'm going to make a video about how the parties did not change positions. The parties didn't switch platforms during the civil rights era. That's a misnomer. And a lot of right wingers are gonna like pop up and be like, yes, you're right. Yes, yes, yes. No, you're not gonna like what I have to say. But it's about tribes. It's about different coalitions within parties. And there was a coalition called the Dixiecrats. They were part of the Democratic Party, but they left and joined the Republican Party. So the parties didn't switch platforms. A certain coalition left to join the Republicans and became ascendant through the 80s with the rise of the Reagan years and the advent of the modern evangelical political movement.
Party was a collection of a bunch of tribes, and then,
and that's my tribe, the progressives, the left, are trying to take over the Democratic Party, and we have come so fucking close the last two elections. And that's why I'm not voting for Biden. I'm voting for the party I have sway in. I'm voting for the party that I am going to take over the next two cycles. Prepare thine asses, corporate Democrats, we're coming for you.
Parties, as they grow, tend to be more about being exclusive than inclusive. And
that's your party. That's not the Democratic Party. Now, granted, the Democrats are doing their best to put forward a progressive face while conceding on as little as they possibly can in order to protect their corporate donors. And that's why I want to get the Democrats out of the party who have corporate donors. I am 100% against Nancy Pelosi. I am for her opponent, Sahid Buttar. I tried to check polling on that race, but it's scarce. I don't know how he's doing. I hope he is able to unseat her.
And so, you look at like the Republican Party platform, it's a document meant to like...
Well, I mean, clearly the corporatists have come over to the side of the Democrats. Wall Street is 100% behind Joe Biden right now. Of course they should be. A stimulus like the CARES Act we passed in the spring was good for business. This bullshit that we're doing right now of just letting everybody suffer and get evicted is going to absolutely wreck the economy. Now, I know the numbers came out 33% GDP growth, and right-wingers were all fucking praising it, talking about how awesome President Trump is. That's not 33% GDP growth. That's not what that was. That was a bit of a rebound. That wasn't growth. I take issue with them calling that growth. It can't be growth if we're not where we were earlier in the year.
Piss people off, basically, more, because it's done by activists.
And that's exactly, there we go. The current position of the American right wing is just to own the libs. And it's getting ready to bite them in the ass. 5 days, fuckers, 5 days.
Of a bunch of tribes, and then, parties as they grow tend to be more about being exclusive than inclusive. And so, you look at like the Republican Party platform, it's a document meant to like piss people off, basically, more, because it's done by activists.
Yeah.
So you have a disproportionality between what issues people are vocal on and what the people, the voters, really care about. And what Trump's been able to do is, I say he's basically did a full hostile takeover of the Republican Party, and I don't think it's even as much about the issues. I think it's about the attitude.
It really is. It's the owning the libs. He hates the same people they hate. You didn't get banned, dude. You just got timed out by one of the mods because you were running your mouth.
The most dangerous people around the president are overconfident idiots, right?
Wow! I would agree with Kushner 100%. The most dangerous people around the president are overconfident idiots like yourself, sir.
The most people around the president are overconfident idiots, right? Because that has a way sometimes of getting past his defense mechanism, because if you're overconfident, then sometimes, on a topic where he doesn't have other people around to kind of validate it, then he can sometimes say, okay, let's go with that. So that's kind of, I think if you look at the evolution over time, we've gotten rid of a lot of the overconfident idiots, and now we've got a lot more thoughtful people who kind of know their place and know what to do.
You got a lot more yes men. You got rid of people like John Kelly, Jeff Sessions, General Mattis, all people I disagree with, but absolutely are competent. They weren't idiots.